she is actually supporting AT. She needs to GTFOH and quick.
You know what's going on with AT? I think first and foremost, it's absolutely unacceptable. I think as a league, as a whole, there's been so much more toxicity, racism, homophobia, straight out like nonsense, hate nonsense. And it is absolutely unacceptable. Most of this coming from the online community, most of this, in my heart of hearts, I believe, not coming from WNBA fans, Indiana Fever fans.
Wait a minute, Stephanie White finally speaks on the Alyssa Thomas-Caitlin Clark altercation, and somehow makes it sound like a polite disagreement over avocado toast, instead of backing the league's biggest star like everyone expected. She stylishly downplays the whole thing while writing for Thomas.is this pro-level gaslighting. Or just veteran diplomacy. Either way, the drama just got served with a side of elegance. You need to hear how she spun this.
Everyone
Get somebody to spend the rest of your life with who looks at you the way Stephanie White looks at Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner. Get somebody to spend the rest of your life with who defends you the way Stephanie White defends Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner. And don't get somebody to spend the rest of your life with who looks at you how Stephanie White looks at Caitlin Clark.
Everyone expected more until Stephanie White finally spoke out about that wild altercation between Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark, and somehow, she managed to make the whole thing sound like a minor misunderstanding, instead of the kind of hard foul that could end a promising career.
White has spoken, defending Alyssa Thomas. Everyone cares about the mental health of everybody else in the WNBA except for Caitlin Clark. No one cares about her mental health. Nobody cares about her physical health. But they all care about the mental health, the physical health, the everything health of Alyssa Thomas, because Alyssa Thomas is the victim. She's the victim.
Most people expected the Fever coach to come out swinging for her star rookie, who keeps getting targeted night after night, but instead, White sounded a lot like the rest of the league, offering polite words while downplaying how dangerous the play really looked.
And now she's adding more towards it. Your player could have had her career ended that night. Thank God she didn't. If Alyssa Thomas landed on her leg, the same leg that ended her season, her fist was on her neck.
She talked about appreciating the review that led to the suspension, yet she spent more time wondering why officials missed it live, rather than demanding the league step up with real protection for players like Clark, who put the entire WNBA on their backs with massive ratings and sold-out arenas.
Stephanie White comes out in defense of Alyssa Thomas. Folks, rumor has it, and I heard this through the grapevine, if there was a train coming, maybe not the best analogy with the supposed death threats, but let's just say, hypothetically, if there was a train coming and Alyssa Thomas was on the train tracks, folks, rumor has it Stephanie White would sacrifice herself. No! And push.
Almost impressive how stylishly she sidestepped the bigger issue White has every reason to push hard for changes because her team relies on Clark staying healthy to make deep runs, but she chose the safe route that echoes what so many others say. She called out online hate directed at both sides, which is fine on its own. Yet she never really hammered home that the league needs stricter rules and instant accountability. To stop these incidents before they happen, Clark has drawn more fouls than just about anyone this season. And a lot of them feel intentional, like opponents test how far they can go against the face of the league. White knows this better than most, yet her comments landed more like veteran diplomacy than the fiery defense a generational talent deserves.
This is what has been created in this WNBA space. Alyssa Thomas has still not apologized to Caitlin Clark for what she claims was an accident. Does that lengthy interview, which I posted and gave my reaction to. Still no apology. But I'm supposed to feel bad because Alyssa Thomas is getting some uncomfortable DMs or comments on social media. Is that what it's supposed to be?
The Real kicker came when Alyssa Thomas broke her own silence after serving that one-game suspension. Thomas acted shocked by the punishment and claimed she did not even deserve the treatment or the suspension at all. She called the play a complete accident and complained that the league stayed quiet while she received death threats and ugly messages. Fans lost their minds over that one because the tape shows Thomas with her fist making contact right around Clark's throat area during a scramble. It looked reckless at best and dangerous at worst, especially when Clark has already dealt with hard landings, pokes to the eye, and cheap shots that seem to follow her everywhere she goes. Thomas, framing herself as the real victim here, only poured gas on the fire, and the outrage spread fast across social media and sports shows. Thomas saying she did not deserve any discipline feels like classic downplaying, the same energy White showed in her measured response. The league handed out a one-game suspension after a review upgraded the foul, but that punishment barely registers as a slap on the wrist in a long season.
So let's dissect Alyssa Thomas, both the way she comports herself there and what she said. If I'm just looking at her demeanor, I don't see where she is at all sorry. Again, even if your assertion is that it was unintentional.
Players notice when consequences stay this light, and it basically gives the green light for more of the same rough stuff. Caitlin Clark should not have to keep dealing with this every single night just to prove she belongs. She came into the league as the most hyped rookie in years, shattering records and bringing new fans who never watched women's basketball before, yet here she is, absorbing hits that would make headlines if they happen to any of the established stars. The one-game suspension for what Thomas did feels nowhere near enough, because it does not deter the next player who thinks she can get away with something similar. No one wants to see a talent like hers waste prime years recovering from avoidable injuries, while the rest of the veterans close ranks and act like everything stays normal. White could have used her platform to call for immediate rule changes, better referee training, or even heavier penalties that actually make people think twice. Instead, she sounded reasonable and balanced, which is exactly what everyone else says when they want to avoid rocking the boat. She mentioned the hate as unacceptable and blamed fake fans pushing agendas, but she stopped short of demanding the league protect its biggest draw more aggressively.
Now Alyssa Thomas is the victim because people are saying words on social media. And now it's these online communities. Have you seen the online communities for Caitlin Clark? Huh? I read them. They make fun of, destroy Caitlin Clark every single day. They say the craziest things. Have you talked about that? No. So this is crazy to me. Stephanie White, I think it was better you just shut the hell up. In my opinion, it was best for you to shut the hell up.
That polite tone lets the physical play continue, while Clark racks up bruises, and the highlights of her getting fouled hard rack up millions of views. The WNBA talks a big game about growth, yet it lets situations like this slide with minimal consequences, almost as if the veterans get a free pass to initiate the rookies through pain. Think about how absurd it looks from the outside. Clark drops ridiculous numbers, sells out buildings and boosts TV ratings through the roof, but she still catches elbows, neck contact, and questionable closeouts that referees somehow miss until the league office reviews the tape later. This chose words that defended against hate, but did not push for the structural changes needed to stop the hate from starting in the first place. It feels like everyone performs concern without actually solving anything, and meanwhile, Clark keeps playing through it like a champ, because that is who she is. The pattern repeats across the season. Hard fouls on Clark pile up. Fans scream for accountability. The league reviews a few of them after the fact, and then everyone moves on until the next game. A one-game suspension does not change behavior when the physicality stays part of the culture, and veterans like Thomas shrug it off as basketball.
Listen, any Caitlin Clark or Indiana Fever fan that's still taking up for this woman, you're pathetic. At this point, y'all do realize she sat up there, and I cut the video short because it would have just made a lot of y'all mad. And if you want to get mad, go watch the full video and waste, 3-4 minutes of your life that you won't get back. But y'all do realize the person that was attacked was the person that she coaches. Do y'all not realize this?
Clark has shown incredible poise, but no player should have to develop a tolerance for this level of targeting just to survive a rookie year. If the league cannot figure out how to protect her better, maybe the smartest move really is stepping away before something worse happens. That would be a massive loss for the WNBA, yet it might finally force everyone to confront how they treat the player bringing all the new energy and money into the league. Thomas deserved more pushback for claiming innocence after a play that looked intentional. On every replay, the suspension should have carried real weight, maybe multiple games or a fine that stings. So other players understand the league stands behind its stars instead of letting rivalries turn dangerous. Clark's talent elevates everyone, but that elevation comes with extra physical attention that the rules need to address directly. A fan see through the polished responses, they watch Clark get hammered. While the veterans circle the wagons and talk about respect for the game, White could have stood out by being blunt about the need for change, yet she blended right in with the standard statements.
Focusing almost exclusively on the backlash against Alyssa Thomas, without similarly recognizing the hostility towards Caitlin Clark, the league creates the appearance of selected empathy. A lot of fans are just feeling that the perception is that some players receive more public compassion than others. It's like, I feel like I'm living in the upside down world. And I don't like the use of these like buzzwords, but you know, there is something called victim blaming, and this seems to definitively fall into that category.
The outrage over Thomas's comments grew because people recognize when someone tries to rewrite the narrative after a bad look. One game off does nothing to stop the next elbow or neck contact waiting in the next matchup. Clark keeps showing up and performing. But the wear and tear adds up, and at some point, the league has to decide if it wants to protect its golden goose or keep watching her dodge danger.